Hey guys, just want to give you a quick update here on our 1990 Bronco One Ton Resto Mod project. As you can see, we pretty much have the 1 tons in the truck. Stripped it down to the frame, got it all cleaned up. It was fairly rusty from sitting in a field for quite a few years. We got it all cleaned up, got the old suspension ripped out, and got all the new parts stuffed in here. So what we got going on up front here is a 1996 Ford Dana 60. Completely rebuilt, everything's ready to go, and we are using a Skies Off-Road design 2-inch Super Duty shackle reversal kit, which actually uses a set of Super Duty springs, or in our case we're using these springs out of an Excursion, because the Excursion guys hate these springs. They say they're too squishy. So I think this is actually going to ride pretty good underneath a much lighter Ford Bronco. So out in the rear, what we did was completely rebuilt the stock leaf springs. They were getting kind of beat. And then we used Sky's 2-inch shackle flip kit along with their 2-inch extended shackle. And then we paired it with a 1-inch zero rate from Off-Road Design, because they've got nice ones where you can offset the axle a little bit, which we had to do due to the wheelbase loss from the shackle flip. So back here, of course, we have a Sterling 10 1/4. Same thing, completely rebuilt, ready to go. We did do the rough stuff diff covers on both of them, just because, who knows, maybe we'll take a wheeling. But as you see, our end result here was basically right at 4 inches of lift. I think it looks really good. It's currently sitting on top of a set of Ball 33-inch tires, which we're not keeping. We have a set of 35s in the garage ready to go. Just don't have wheels for them yet, so we'll get there. This thing has not run in a long time, so we've got a decent amount of work to do. The fuel system was shot, the brakes lines were all shot, everything was shot, just from being neglected and parked for like 5 years before we even got our hands on it. So, but it's got pretty good bones. You can see the body's pretty solid. Little spot in the fender there, and then of course your typical rot in the tailgate, but all told, it's actually a pretty solid truck, pretty clean. Definitely could not pass it up for what we paid for it. So the ultimate goal here is going to be completely go through this thing and build a nice 1-ton Bronco on 35s that we could totally daily drive if we wanted to. So that's the plan. A lot of little things to do yet. However, this is not our primary concern this week, because we're going wheeling, and that means we need to bust out the big Bronco. So let's go bring her around and get this project started. This is the Big Block Bronco. This is our primary wheeling rig. 1988 Big Block 1 tons, doublers, 42s, the whole 9 yards. Completely stripped this truck down to the frame, redid everything over a course of about a 5-year span. Just got her back on the road early this spring, and we've kind of just been putting around. Took it on a couple wheeling trips. We haven't really done anything crazy, although we do have a pretty wild trip coming up this weekend up at AOAA, which is four-wheeling park, right, stone's throw away up in Shamokin, Pennsylvania. And we're going up with a bunch of other Fords, also 1 tons, everybody in the 37 to 43-inch tire range. So we're gonna hang out with the big boys, and I've got some upgrades I'd like to make to this thing. The big one is going to be, I want to upgrade the shocks in the front end, see if we can get a little more control of these big old tires and keep this thing from just floating down the highway like a boat. So that's the first thing we're going to tear into, and from there, if we've got any more time before the end of the week, we'll bang a couple other little projects out. So let's get this project started. Alright, so this thing is your typical coil radius arm setup, like basically everybody does when they put their straight axle in the front of their truck, or their old Ford, I should say. And really nothing special about it. So it does work pretty decent. However, over the years, the truck has gotten heavier and heavier and heavier between the big block and then this ridiculous stupid heavy bumper and winch that we put on the front of it. So what I found is the truck is a little floatier than it used to be. So I don't have a good option for coils, and truthfully, I have too many projects going on. I don't have the time to really dig in and do custom coils or completely revamp the suspension. We got way too many other projects going on. So what I'm planning on doing is simply throwing another pair of shocks at the front end, and we're gonna call it good for, you know, a year or so, and then maybe we'll come back and we'll revisit the front suspension and do something really cool. But the plan is simply to grab another set of these guys, which are Bilstein 7100s, and we're going to throw these in the front and double up on what we've got, and hopefully that will be enough. Planning on getting rid of that's a OEM Ford shock mount, same mount everybody uses. It's off of a 80-297, I believe, F250 or F350. They're cheap, very easy to work with. What we're going to do, we're going to swap them out for these guys here, which are dual shock mounts from Rough Country. These are actually for a Super Duty, but this has the right spacing and it's nice flat. Everything should be super easy. Hopefully we'll just get these guys off the frame, drill a couple holes, get those bolted on, and hopefully this ends up being a pretty easy project, and we get it banged out in no time. So well, I guess enough yakking. All right, front end is up in the air, tires are off. This is what we got. Should be a fairly straightforward job. Take the separate shock mount off, do something with my bump stop, we'll figure that one out later, get the new shock mount in place and bolt it all up. So let's get cracking. All right, we got the upper shock mount off. Everything looks good to go. We got a nice clean slate. Everything should be as simple as drilling a couple holes, and what the crap is that? Looks like we have a crack in the frame. Pretty much lines up with the engine cross members. It's probably been there for a long time and we didn't see it. We're gonna have to do something about that before we go out this weekend. So I guess I better get the grinder out. All right. Got the frame all repaired, upper shock mount installed, bump stop back on. All that's left now, get these shocks in and we can call this side done. All right. I'm sure you were enjoying watching me ride the struggle bus here, but they're both in. Everything looks good. I'm digging it. Let's move to the other side. Get her done. All right. Shocks are in. Job done. Let's get some tires back on this thing. All right, that's it. Truck is done. Still got a few maintenance issues that we're going to try and button up before the weekend, but this front suspension is done. We're just going to take this thing for a test drive, see how well she handles. It's great now. Wish I had done this forever ago. Way stiff, not stiff, firm, but not stiff. No body roll. Cruises super nice on the highway. Nothing, no swaying or anything. Like, man, it's exactly what this thing needed. It handles great. Handles great. Super excited. So. That's it, I'm done. I'm getting out of this rain. Maybe we'll take her with this thing tomorrow, and then Friday on the trailer she goes. Later.